안녕하세요. I'm Drew.
I'm China.
I'm Fatima.
And this is our project on Hanok.
So for our project, we're looking at a Hanok. And so what a Hanok is that it's a traditional house found in normally rural Korea. And so what makes a Hanok is not its in size or material. It can be any size. It can be made of a bunch of materials that are eco-friendly. But it's definitely a key part of it is the Ondu and Maro, which are the traditional heating system that are found in these types of houses. So basically the history of Hanok is it's up for disagreement between Korean scholars. It's that some say it's been around since the very beginning of Korea, but others say it comes in definitely around the Joseon period. And then its name officially becomes Hanok later on, especially during the occupation of Japan, and that's where you see the name finally cementing itself. And so a vital part of what it means to be Hanok is that it values empty space. It doesn't have to be cluttered, it doesn't have to be filled. And the basic principle, which is called the Baisamisu, is what is called the ideal house. And the ideal house is that it should be facing behind a mountain but facing a river. And so it's very important of how the house is structured and set.
So I'm going to be talking about the building materials for Hanok. They're actually super environmentally friendly as they take back from the earth. Rather than using adhesives or nailing anything in or steel, none of that will be found in Hanok. Instead, you're going to find soil. It's usually yellow soil, which is native to the land of Korea. They also will use wood, straw, and stone. So the straw is found more in the hanji, which is also the Korean paper, and that actually is used for the doorways. And it's the way, instead of having windows, it's the way that they have the air flow and protect from the humidity coming in and keeping the house cool. They'll use the wood for the pillars, and then the stone will be found in the undul, which is the heating system that is underneath the home. So they use stone and salt in order to set that up, and it heats up the floor in the home rather than there being a heater directly inside the home. And then also too, there's a chioma on the Hanok, and what that is, it's the curved edges of the home that protect from the sunlight coming in order for the home to not get too hot. And the clay actually that they use to build the walls keeps the house from getting too hot in the summer and then too cold in the winter time. And as China had mentioned, the ideal home is that there's a mountain behind the house, and that's just due to certain winds that come in. It protects them from going around the home, and then the river in front of the home allows them to have easy access to water.
Okay, so for my part of the presentation, I'm talking about the house layout that the Hanok is actually designed around. So typically with the Hanok, there are multiple sections of the housing. It's more of a housing complex more than anything. So on this left image, it's kind of, you can see that there's walls built around the different housing sections, and each section of the house has different purposes, such as sleeping bedrooms, kitchens, and storage areas, as well as just like areas where you can do like your laundry or things like gardening as well. Depending on the style and layout of the house, you can often see little tiny gardens within these sort of square box shaped walls, and oftentimes typically ladies of the house would be taking care of both the gardens and as well as like the food, the garden, the laundry and other tasks such like that. Now with the different layouts, what actually is kind of interesting is through the late Joseon dynasty, pretty much there are different styles of houses that were created, different styles of Hanoks, and they vary based on the different regions wherever you may be within Korea itself. So certain designs would be more like an L-shaped design where it would have certain like 3 rooms in a row and then a kitchen in one section of the house, say like this section of the house where it might be a wall. Other layouts in a different region would have such like smaller rooms with a longer kitchen maybe, and maybe an area where they might be dining, or certain activities like having a mill would be another area where that activity could be happening within the house. But as sort of the Hanok design would be improved and developed upon, would be throughout the different times in Korean history in which the Yangban the Yangban style, the living style, which basically the tiled roofs for Hanoks would be mainly supported for those who are aristocrats, those who are of royalty, and those who actually have money in Korean society. And as Fatima was saying earlier, it helps with the flow and the air direction of the house, as well as the different layout sections of the whole house, the whole area, the whole grounds itself can direct different wind flows, and there are doors for each room that can be lifted up, which allow more airflow in the summertime to make it cooler, and then can be put down in the wintertime to make it warmer. With Yangban, the other style besides tile roofs is the straw roofs, which basically they serve the same purpose of trying to keep cold air out and warm air in, trying to keep the house very comfortable for those living in it, but the uses for it are almost exactly the same. And so it's just the materials, based on whether or not you have money, it would allow for better insulation, as well as it would just be out of pure convenience. Thank you.
감사. 안녕.